The Daytona 500 on Fox is sponsored by Diet Mountain Dew. Yeah, it tastes that good. 76 laps to go in the Daytona 500. Let's take an inside look at what's happening in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, brought to you by Sprint. Denny Hamlin is your race leader. He's led the most laps tonight, 47, more than he's led in his 6 prior 500s total. He's also the biggest mover in this race, 28 spots ahead of where he started. Get unlimited access to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series with live NASCAR audio and real-time stats available through the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app on your Android-powered device. Only on the Sprint network, the only national carrier with truly unlimited data. Learn more at sprint.com/speed.
Mike, you're sitting here right now, if you're Denny Hamlin in the 11 car, and you're thinking, am I really this good, or am I sitting down? I mean, you don't really know. There's such an uncertainty. You just never have the confidence that you've got the car to hold these guys off, particularly if a couple of them get outside of you and start pushing each other.
Mike, we're real close to what's going to be green flag pit stops for a lot of these drivers, and when they make this stop, it will be then a one-stop race to get to the end.
And that's the other thing, if you're in the pack, you're trying to figure out, okay, who was it that I got hooked up with that we ran the best laps with? Where is he, and can we get hooked up and do it again? So you're at that point in a race right now where you're really fast forwarding a lot to the next pit stop and what you're going to do at the end of the race.
In the last 11 years, only one time has the driver who led the most laps won the 500. That was Michael Waltrip in '03. Bowyer, maybe that engine has finally given up.
I don't know if he's got trouble. I think he does, or else, yeah, he's definitely slowing.
Can he make it to pit road?
Oh, not now. No. That could have been disastrous.
Now, there are various places where he can pull off the track without bringing out a caution, but they would not get him back to pit road. So Clint Bowyer from Emporia, Kansas, limps around the track, and I believe he is out of gas. Krista.
Mike, that's exactly what he came on the radio and said. They thought they had that overheating issue earlier. That is the least of their concerns now. He just came on and said, guys, how did this happen? We are out of fuel.
In the last 6 races here, Mike, he has the best average finish of 12.2, so big blow to that team.
Yeah, he last pitted on lap 82, which is the same lap that Carl Edwards pitted and Tony Stewart pitted on 82. We're seeing Joey Logano and Mark Martin come to pit road.
The caution is out for Clint Bowyer. It will be the 6th caution flag of the night.
Now, Joey Logano in the 20 went on through the pits. Tony Stewart's going to complete his pit stop. He'll be able to do this and stay on the lead lap and more than likely get the lead when all the other drivers come to pit road.
Yeah, because the cars are slow down the back going into 3. Tony's work is done. Everybody's going to pit. So, Larry, you're right. He will assume the lead when everybody pits.
Yeah, Joey Logano and his team, they panicked right there. They should have went ahead and made their pit stop.
Sixth caution flag. There's Clint Bowyer as the pace car gets set to come out and pick up the field, and the push truck will have to come to Bowyer's aid.
You have to give Bowyer credit. I mean, he was going to try to get on pit road,
yes,
but 2 race cars were coming at him at about 200 miles an hour, and he couldn't do it.
Now, here's what also is interesting. Pit road is closed, and Jeff Burton's on pit road. I get a feeling he probably was about out of fuel. Matt.
And the car had coughed a couple times, Larry Mack, so they're going to hit pit road, take the penalty, and not have a bigger issue on this 31 machine.
Well, with these electronic fuel injection, they got 2 pumps in the tank and then a big pump right in the center. So when you're out of fuel, you're out of fuel.
First time for electronic engine management, including electronic fuel injection in NASCAR. And for many of these cars, first time with electric fuel pumps. And if you're wondering about the safety risk of those, there are parameters in the computer that can sense throttle vacuum combined with high brake pressure or low oil pressure shut that engine down so that an electric fuel pump like a conventional one might keep pumping if a car had crashed or an engine had blown. Not anymore. Wouldn't happen.
It's really, it's one of the best things that we've ever done. Going to fuel injection and all that goes with it. It's really made the cars even better and safer.
Blade Sadler has completed his stop. Ryan Newman gets the free pass. Now that will put 28 cars back on the lead lap when we get ready to restart. 71 laps to go. Now cars running down on the flat to ensure they get that fuel picked up in the fuel cell and get it to the engine so they can make it all the way around to pit road. Some of those cars may have been very close on fuel.
The way those lift pumps are in the fuel cell, those electric pumps, I'm not sure that makes a whole lot of difference.
Steve.
Martin Truex Jr.'s crew chief Chad Johnston, Mike, told him to cut the engine because they were so concerned with running out of fuel. The 56 plans on taking 4 tires. Denny Hamlin the same. Krista?
Steve, as Greg Biffle rolls into his pit stall, he took 2 tires on the last stop. The plan here to pack it through as much fuel as possible. The crew coming around to take 4 tires on this stop for Greg Biffle. Matt?
And the 43 of Eric Almirola, he is in. They're going to take on 4 tires as well. Adjustment on the 43, and he is away.
Who wins the race off pit road? Looks like Regan Smith. And a collision in the pit lane.
The 33 couldn't find his pit box, and he was wandering around in pit road and caused a big bottleneck right there.
Yeah, we had about 28 or 29 drivers on pit road at one time.
Cato, New York's Regan Smith puts himself in position out front. Under caution at Daytona with 69 laps to go. Let's go down to the University of Farmers and Jeff Hammond.
Mike, all during the race, I've been listening and watching what's been going on here in the latter part of this race. What I've learned is you've got to find your dance partner. You've got to have somebody to race with. The thing we haven't talked a lot about, we're going back up here and check them in a minute, are the spotters. They've got to start working extra hard to get you back up here toward the front. One of the guys has been riding in the back, the 29 car of Kevin Harvick. Watch him and his spotter work together to get that 29 toward the front late in the race.
Thanks, Jeff. 68 to go this time by when they take the green flag for the restart. Kevin Harvick, Jeff mentioned, is in 13th. 2 cars took the wave around and did not stop on this caution. Landon Castle and David Rudiman, his teammate, they're back on the lead lap. As the cars that stopped as the caution wave, Mark Martin, Tony Stewart up there getting the green flag, then with Regan Smith and the rest of this pack double wide. 30 cars on the lead lap with 68 to go. Ageless Mark Martin leads the Daytona 500. A driver that retired 6 years ago and then found new life. He's been with 2 different teams since and will run a partial schedule this year, that number 55, surrendering the lead to Biffle and Hamlin.
Mark brings so much energy to a team. He's a smart guy. He knows a race car inside and out. So he just comes in and he'll energize a team.
Denny Hamlin at 11, he laid against the rear bumper of Greg Biffle in that 16 and pushed him right to the lead going off into turn 3.
I think Greg Biffle is the guy that's really, I won't say confused, but he hasn't been able to figure out the right place to be at the right time. We saw it at the halfway mark. We saw it the other day in his qualifying race. He's got a car that can win this thing if he can just get somebody to work with him and play it cool.
And 3 cars in that mix deserve mention. We've talked about Regan Smith in that black Chevrolet number 78. But side by side behind him, the 9 and the 43. The 2 Fords of Richard Petty Motorsports. Marcus Ambrose from Australia, and in Petty blue and white, the Kings number 43 and his new driver from Tampa, Florida, Eric Almirola.
I want to give a call, though, to that driver behind Marcus Ambrose in that 13 car, Mike, Casey Mears. This was a driver that missed the Daytona 500 a year ago. They come here, they made a make change over the offseason, qualified up front, and now he's up here running up front.
Yeah, Larry, Casey Mears is a good little driver. He and Booty Barker, they were just beside themselves by the kind of runs they've had down here, qualifying well and racing well.
Mears trying to hang on to a top 15 spot. on the outside. It's going to be hard to do.
Well, the hardest thing is when you know, somebody looks at the 13 car, Casey Mears, they said, maybe I don't want to run with him. You're always looking for a bigger name in the other line, if you know what I mean.
Right. Understood. But if the car has speed, he can be your new best friend.
Well, Trevor Bayne last year proved that. I mean, you know, Trevor's car was fast and people wanted to work with him. But you got to prove you got something under the hood to get up there and lead this thing.
There we go. The 1-10 car waiting for the pack to catch up to her. She pitted again and couldn't catch up to the pack before the restart. She said it's absolutely zero fun right now, but she is learning, and she's going to try to learn more when that pack gets her.
Car's pretty beat up, and it has a new rear end.
That looks almost as bad as Kyle Busch's car when he won the Bud Shootout the other night.
Right. We haven't seen a lot of Kyle tonight in the 18. You see him there in the picture. There's Junior. There's Casey Kane. You're riding with Kane.
I think
there's Kyle ahead on the inside, just ahead of the 99 of Edwards. He hasn't come all the way to the front, Darrell, but we've seen him make some moves to gain position inside and out.
I think they got to mix it up a little bit more for him to really be a player. He's not real good at just riding along in line. He likes to mix it up, make moves.
Kyle Busch just kind of working in the top 10 in his number 18. 63 laps to go in the first ever Monday Daytona 500 in history.